All right, so let's do question 3 here. So it says Wayne received and sent a total of 60 text messages on his cell phone in one weekend. He sent 10 more messages than he received. All right, so first off, remember how when we're wanting to graph this thing, we really want, that y is equal to mx plus b thing, right? Well, in order to make that work, we needed two variables, right? A y and an x. So step number 1, we got to figure out what our variables are. So let's just read this again. Wayne received and sent a total of 60 text messages on his cell phone in one weekend. So he received and sent a total of 60 text messages, right? So it looks like those are my variables. Like how many he receives plus how many he sent would give me a total of 60, right? So let's write that out. So he received, so I'm just going to call that R. So if we're doing A, like writing this out, then I'd say, okay, the number that he received, R, plus the number that he sent, S, should be equal to 60. That's actually a little equation, right? Because, like, watch this. I can, if I like, I can subtract S from both sides, and it would look like this. I'd get Y is equal to mx plus b. I'll leave it like that for now, though. So that'll be our first one. Okay. Okay, so there'll be that. Now our second one, let's look into the next part of the question. So it says, he sent 10 more messages than he received. So we should be able to say the amount that he sent, so S, would be equal to the amount that he received plus 10. Does that kind of make sense, right? Like, so he sent 10 more than he received, right? So whatever he received, it was 10 more than that. I know, and this is probably like where it's tricky, right? Like I always know it's on these ones where kids get a little bit messed up on these, right? But yeah, so it's gonna be practice, right? Just kind of getting, I think that those straight in your brain. Okay, so we have two equations, right? We have a system of linear equations. Our only problem right now is that they're not really arranged properly, right? So what I want, it actually doesn't matter what variable you arrange for. We could either arrange it for R is equal to something or S is equal to something, but they should both be the same, right? You should both have them like either one the same. So in this case, I already have S is equal to something. So I'm going to rearrange the top one here so that it's S is equal to something. So I'm going to change this to, well, I'm going to move the R, like I'm going to subtract R from both sides. So like minus R and minus R. So this would really become S is equal to negative R plus 60. Okay, so now if we're graphing this thing, then just imagine that these things are y's and x's, right? This is like a y and that's like an x. So this is like y is equal to mx plus b. We could solve this thing just like we've been doing. So in that case, then if we were graphing this, our r would be on the bottom, right? These are like our x's. And our s would be going up and down. So just keep that in mind when we're actually solving this thing. So what we're going to do, I'm going to just graph this one using your graphing calculator. But then I'll just make like a quick sketch on this thing, and then we'll figure out where they cross. So if we do that, let's do it again. So we've got negative r plus 60. So I'll clear these ones out. And we had, what was it again? It was s is equal to negative r plus 60. So that would really be y is equal to negative x plus 60. And yeah, so let's do that one and then do the next one. So then that's s is equal to r plus 10. So x is equal to r, or y is equal to x plus 10. So y is equal to x plus 10. All right, should be good to go. So let's graph this thing. And we wait. You see the little spinning thing up in the top? That means it's doing something. So that went up there. And then we're done. What happened here? Didn't I graph two lines? How come there's only one? Well, maybe some of you guys are seeing my problem, right? The way I have it set up, every one of these ticks is how high up I'm going. Why can't I see this one? Well, one little key here is that this thing is supposed to cross the y-axis at 60. And I'm looking at this, and it only goes up to 10. So here's our next little issue here, and the next thing I'm going to teach you on the calculator is how to change our window settings. So we can change our window settings here because I need to see higher, right? I got to see up higher so I can tell what's going on. So I want this to go up to 60 at least, right? Probably 80 so I can just see it. So do you guys see how you have a window button on the top here? Like I said, all your graphing stuff is up on the top. So we're going to click on window. And then that brings in our window settings, they're called. So in here we've got our X minimum, X maximum. Just to give you an idea what that would be, your X minimum would be everything on the left, right? That's saying how far does it go to the left? How far can I see to the left? Your X maximum is saying how far can you see to the right. Okay? And if I go back in there, and then we've got our scale. Well, scale means how much it's going up by. So again, if I go back here, the scale is just like every tick, right? Like 1 is every tick. You can make that whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. If you have a TI Nspire, it probably says scale auto. Just leave it on auto. It just kind of figures out the best number to make it. I'll leave it as 1 though. It doesn't really matter. The next one that we do want though, we've got Y min at -10 and we've got Y max at 10. So Y max right now is set to 10. That's why we can only see up to 10, right? So let's change that one. I want to change that one to our Y max. So I'm just going to go down here. I'm going to change my Y max. So we'll go clear and then change that to, well, 60 would make it so it, like I could see right where it crossed. But why don't I just make it 80 so I can see like a little bit above it? And then let's check back and see what we got going on. So I'm going to push graph. And then perfect. I couldn't see that blue line before, right? And then that red line, uh-oh, here's our next problem, right? That's okay. I can't see far enough to the right, right? I'm after where they cross. But that's fine. We can see the 10 right now. You can take a bit of an estimate on this, right? Looks like I got to go about twice as far before this thing actually crosses. So I'm going to go like 3 or even 4 times as far just to make sure I can see it. So right now, our X max is what needs to get bigger, right? So our X max is at 10. Why don't we make it like 40 or 50 even? I'll make it 40 right now, but let's see. So now if we graph this, this is looking more promising. So now it goes up, this one crosses, and I can quite clearly see where they cross now. So now I'm back to the other, to what we did before. So now I'm going to go into my like second and then calculate. And I'm going to find where they intersect. So I'm going to push 5. I'm going to go down closer to where I think they cross. It's fine if you didn't. Push enter, and then second curve. I'm going to push enter, and then it's going to take a guess. I'm going to say, yes, I do want you to take a guess. So they intersect at 25, 35. Okay, so here, 25, 35. And just in general, I'm not going to get the scale and everything going here, but these things would, you know, go like this. This is really rough. And then this one was coming down. Those should be straight lines. Okay. And they cross at 25, 35. Those are important numbers, right? And what are they? So remember that R was like our X value, right? So this is R. And this was my S value. Okay, so this was our answer. So if I'm going to solve this thing graphically, then the answer here is going to be at 25, 35. So received. How many text messages do we send and receive? So he received 25 texts, and he sent 35 texts. Okay, and that's our answer. Now, some of you guys might be wondering, what if I would have rearranged for R in these equations, right? That would have been fine, right? But what would have happened is this side would have been your R and this side would have been your S, and then these two numbers would have been switched around, right? Which would have been fine, right? You still would have got the same answers for your received and your sent in the end. Okay, so it doesn't actually matter which one you solve for. Okay.